You are listening to the Sports
This
Swords
night of basketball
Podcast.
been so far. That Cleveland game was crazy, and here, Klay Thompson at the horn for a 3-point halftime lead for Golden State over New Orleans. And as they went to the locker rooms, some friendly chatter between Rajon Rondo and Draymond Green.
That's what you want to call it?
What do you want to call it, Chuckster?
I just want somebody to punch him in the face.
Which one? American Express halftime report.
I really do. I just want somebody to punch him in the face.
Oh, you don't like Draymond? J in
I
Atlanta.
want to punch him in the face.
Why you don't like Draymond?
I'm just telling you, I want to punch his ass in the face. I do.
Why?
Relax,
What
Chuck.
makes you upset?
You asked me a question. I gave you
I didn't ask you, do you want to punch him? You said you, and I said, why?
When Chuck get like that, just leave him alone.
No, I like it. Okay.
That's playoff intensity. Yeah, there you go.
Chuck.
Nobody's as good as the Chuckster.
Was that Shaq who said just when he gets going? That's like that's like when Bluto was on a roll. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Germans? Forget it. He's rolling. Just let Chuck go. Let Chuck go.
So we have that. I mean, obviously Chuck came out and said that about Draymond Green. And then, shortly after that,
Chuckster, now the floor is yours.
Oh, looking like George Foreman right now.
No,
The
come
big
on.
George Foreman, the big.
Okay, come on, man.
No, let me say this. I apologize to Draymond Green and his mom. Listen.
Why his mom?
Well, because
She also
I've heard she tweeted.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
You know, you one of those idiots who tweet, so I don't pay attention.
Listen, I didn't know. I didn't know his mom tweeted.
So, you know, Ernie,
One of those
what I
idiots
said
who tweets.
was inappropriate. I would never punch an NBA player. I would never punch an NBA player. I meant what I said. But I would never punch an NBA player. Draymond Green's a good player. I think he's a nice kid. I wish him nothing but the best. But what I said was inappropriate. And I got guys who are mentors to me. I wrote down here. They called me today and told me what I said was inappropriate. Derek Stafford, Jason Whitlock, and Mike Wilbon, they're my mentors and big brothers. What I said was wrong and inappropriate. I appreciate them reaching out to me. You know what? My personal opinion should never come across in a comment I make about a team or a player. It did last night. Draymond is a hell of a player. He's an irritant. He annoys me at times, but he's a hell of a player. But what I said was wrong, and I apologize.
So,
all right. So this is something that I have done.
Worst apology ever.
It's the worst apology ever, but it's also the greatest apology ever, because this is what you love about Charles Barkley, is that he speaks his mind. He is honest. He is actually honest with the crowd. TNT does a great job of letting him and Shaq go just bananas and say whatever the heck they want to say and be themselves. And to me, if they try and censor Charles Barkley from being like that, they're going to
Well, then what's
lose.
the point of having him on the show?
They're going to lose ratings. Because the reason why people watch that show is because of stuff that Charles Barkley says.
Right. The reason why I said it's the worst apology ever is for two reasons. One, I don't think he should have ever made it to begin with.
Right.
And two, because he said, I meant it.
Yeah.
But I apologize anyway.
I meant it, but
First of all, again,
it was inappropriate.
You hit the nail on the head a couple seconds ago, because but this is why you hired Charles Barkley, because he's gonna say salacious and stupid stuff like that. But that's why you hired him, because he says the kind of things that the common man is thinking. And if you asked me, no, I want you to ask me directly, Brian, would you like to punch Draymond Green in the face? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is there ever a moment in your life where you get so aggravated with a certain athlete named Draymond Green where you'd like to punch him in the face?
Yes, that's every moment that I see Draymond Green. He is, as Charles Barkley would say, an irritant.
Yeah.
He is the proverbial fly in the ointment, and I'd love to knock him out.
Now, I wonder if you asked Draymond Green what he would like to do. Do you think he'd like to kick him in the balls?
Yes, I would
Probably,
imagine he would.
because that's what he does.
I
right?
would imagine that him and his mother would both like to kick Charles Barkley in the balls right now. my whole issue with Charles there, because it was so un-Charles like hearing Charles Barkley apologize is so socially awkward.
Yeah, I want to tell his mentors, Wilpon and Whitlock and all. You know what?
Right.
Pipe down, because you know what? This guy is doing something right, because people are tuning in to after an NBA game, which ends at like 11 to 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're tuning in to see Charles Barkley, and they're going onto YouTube to see what Charles Barkley had to say the next day.
Maybe the way Charles should have said it is it could have come across a lot better if he had sort of been laughing and he said, sometimes I just want to punch this guy in the face. Mm-hmm. But if he had sort of wrapped that in this whole idea of, but the reason why you want to do it is because the thing that can drive you nuts about Draymond Green is he's such a mouthy guy, but he also is a very good player.
Yeah.
So he drives you nuts from that perspective, because he can really, really get in your head, because he can talk so much trash to you.
But Chuckster's not that
right
deep.
to your face. No, I know. No. But again, I'm just saying, maybe if it had been me saying it, right, I probably would have said it that way. Right. I still think I would have said it, because Draymond Green is annoying.
Yeah.
But that's part of Draymond Green's job too. Actually, just in the way that Charles Barkley is doing his job right now, Draymond Green's doing his on the court.
Right. And
maybe none of us like it, but
Draymond Green came out after, and they asked him about it, and he said, "Well, tell him the next time he sees me to punch me in the face."
Punch me in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's just how it works. I mean, he knows what he is.
He absolutely knows.
He knows what he is, and he knows he does that. Like Dennis Rodman
fully
knew
embraces
what
who
he was. Like these guys, Bill Laimbeer knew who he was.
Absolutely.
For those that are young that don't understand who Bill Laimbeer is, he was basically
the enforcer.
He was an enforcer, but he was actually more crazy than Draymond Green.
Oh, he was.
He would like straight up clothesline people in the middle of games.
No, yeah, it was like the stuff that Pistons team and Laimbeer could get away with from a physical perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, you would be mortified. A young fan watching that Pistons team now would be absolutely mortified by the things that Laimbeer and that team used to do on the court. Mm-hmm. But, we grew up at a different time, so.
Yes. Back in the 80s.
Oh, man.
Good times. Good times. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, I really hope that they just lay off and let Chuck be Chuck. There's nobody like him. Let him do what he does, because if you don't, nobody's going to watch that show. No, granted, Shaq is pretty good on that. Kenny Smith is good on that show. They're not there. That's not why people are tuning in.
They're the window dressing to Shaq.
Yeah, and Shaq
to Charles.
The only reason why Shaq is good is because he plays well off of Chuck.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal are good together.
Yes.
Ernie Johnson is amazing. He has always been a staple in that. He's a very good at what he does. But Kenny the Jet Smith, he is about as good at this. He's better at this than he was as a player, and he was a pretty good player. He was a pretty good player. I think he's a very good at this, but it's not why people tune in. He is not that kind of reason why. Charles Barkley is the reason why people tune in. Yeah. That's all that has to be said about that. I mean,
if you ever, one of my favorite books that I read as a kid, it was the shortest book I ever read, because I read it in a day, and it wasn't even a day. I think it was like a matter of a couple hours. It's a short little book. It's called The Wit and Wisdom of Charles Barkley. And this was actually when he was I think he was a player. I think he was actually on the Phoenix Suns at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was great. And it was like little stories from his career, just like small things that like Chuck would do. There was one I remember. It was, for whatever reason, this one always sticks out in my head as being funny. But I think it was when he was a member of the Sixers, and the team was practicing, and there were some guys that were shooting. Mm-hmm. And he walked up to one of them. I don't remember who it was, but he's like, if you don't know how to do it now, you're never going to figure it out. It's like, so stop. It's just, but like, that was just Charles Barkley though. I mean, he was great as a player, and he's pretty much the same character now in retirement, doing what he does on TV.
Yep.
And you just let it be. Is he gonna say stupid stuff from time to time? Yes. But does this what just happened a couple of days ago qualify? No. This isn't even in Chuck's top 10 as far as stupid things that he said on TV. In fact, I wouldn't even qualify this as a stupid thing.
Yeah.
I think this was just him being him.
Yeah, it was just him being him, and on top of that, it was fun. It was funny, and it's true.
Well, because we all could relate to it. Because everybody who you could probably ever talk to would like to punch Draymond Green in the face.
Right. And that's what, but he knows what he is. Draymond Green does what he does because he knows what he is.
And then run and hide.
Yeah.
from the ensuing ass kicking that will take place.
You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.